Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something you're going to be seeing at every single petrol pump in India if you haven't already. E20 fuel. So what is it? Why is it suddenly everywhere? And what's it mean for your car and, your wallet? Let's get into it. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is this new fuel that's popping up at the pump? It's a question a lot of us are asking as these new dispensers roll out across the country. Well, it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. E20 is just a fuel blend. 20% of it is ethanol. That's an alcohol that's usually made from crops like sugarcane or maize. The other 80% is the regular gasoline we're all used to. And get this isn't some far-off futuristic idea. The government is pushing hard on this, and they're targeting a complete nationwide rollout of E20 fuel by 2025. Yeah, it's happening really, really fast. Okay, so that brings us to the big question, why? Why go through all this trouble to change the fuel for an entire country? Well, as you'll see, there are some pretty powerful reasons behind this big switch. So the first major driver here is energy security. And this number, it's just staggering. Right now, India has to import a massive 85% of its crude oil. That makes the country really vulnerable to what's happening in global markets. Now, by blending in ethanol that's made right here in India, the country could seriously slash its import bill. The savings are huge. We're talking an estimated $4 billion every single year. That is a total game changer for the economy. And the benefits don't just stop with the money. They actually ripple out across the country. It gives farmers a stable new market, which boosts their income. It creates new jobs in rural areas where ethanol plants are built. And, of course, it's a big step for the environment. And that environmental benefit is a really big deal. E20 just burns cleaner than regular petrol. As you can see here, it means a significant cut in harmful stuff like carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons. That's a clear win for air quality in our cities. But, okay, it's not all sunshine and roses. Like any huge policy change, this one has its hurdles. So let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the story. The real practical challenges that E20 brings for drivers and for the country as a whole. The most immediate problem is for vehicle owners, and you really need to pay attention here. Only cars and bikes made after 2023 are actually designed to handle E20 fuel. If you put this new fuel in an older vehicle, you could be asking for serious trouble, things like engine knocking, corrosion, and even damage to your fuel lines. And then there's the performance issue. This really comes down to basic physics. Ethanol just has less energy packed into it than petrol does. So what does that mean for you? Well, you can expect your vehicle's mileage to drop, maybe by as much as 10%. Yep, that means more trips to the petrol pump. And that leads us to the million-dollar question for every single one of us. Even if E20 is a little bit cheaper per liter, are you actually going to end up paying more in the long run just because you have to fill up your tank more often? That's the math we're all going to be doing pretty soon. And the challenges scale up way beyond our individual cars. This kicks off a huge national debate. Should we use our farmland to grow food for people or fuel for cars? Plus, it puts a major strain on water because a crop like sugarcane is incredibly thirsty, and we all know how scarce water can be. So you see, we've got these huge potential gains on one side and some pretty serious challenges on the other. The whole road ahead for India is going to be about navigating this transition. It's all about finding that perfect balance. This table really lays out the trade-offs crystal clear, especially when you compare E20 to the older E10 blend we've been using. With E10, the mileage drop was tiny, and most cars were fine with it. Now with E20, we get way bigger economic and environmental wins, but it comes at a cost, that bigger drop in mileage and the major issue with older vehicles. So when you boil it all down, the entire E20 story is basically this. It's a national strategy that's all about accepting some short-term pains for us consumers with lower mileage and for the country with that strain on food and water, in exchange for some massive long-term national gains like energy security, cleaner air, and huge economic savings. The long-term success of this whole thing might just come down to innovation. Can we figure out a better way? For instance, can we perfect the technology to make ethanol from things we don't eat, like agricultural waste? And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. Is this food versus fuel problem just a temporary headache that technology will eventually solve, making E20 a win-win for absolutely everyone? We'll have to wait and see.